guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with the next update for my A to C project pan, and this one is a very exciting update. I am so happy with all the progress I was able to make this past month. So without any further rambling, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. But let's just jump into the first eyeshadow. So I will have the full list down below with all of the eyeshadows that were originally in this project, but I'm just going to go through the shades that are still in here. So the first one I have to talk about is C, which is Cyborg from my Sultry palette. This one I have not used this past month. It is this shade right here. I have used it twice in total in this project, but yeah, like I said, I haven't used it this month. It wasn't a focus shade. I'll mainly be working on some warmer shades this past month because I rolled in a lot of really warm shades in my Pantastic eyeshadows, and also had some in this project as well, so I'll be kind of working on those mainly. So this one was kind of just left to the wayside for now, but I think this might be one that I start focusing on, maybe not in August but definitely in September. So yeah, that is the first one. Also, I know that I'm saying that I worn a lot of warm tone looks and then today I'm wearing a very cool tone look, but yeah, I just wanted to do something different today. But that is the first eyeshadow. The second eyeshadow comes from my Subculture palette, and that is for E, and it is the shade Electric. So with this one I have used this an additional 3 times, and I am happy to report that I did actually pan on this shadow, so you can see it right there. In total it took me 7 uses to pan on this eyeshadow. It's quite a crumbly shade, but it is a stunning one. It's probably one of my favorite shades from like mainstream palettes, but I'm happy to now have pan on this one. The third one is another one that I haven't used, and that comes from my Aina palette from Anastasia. That is the shade Ginger, which is this one right here. I have so far in the project used this 6 times, but like I said, I haven't used this in the past month. The next shade is for H, and that is the shade HWY, which came from the Mar palette. This is actually not the original shade. It is used the shade that I have in that because I have kind of merged 2 palettes together. This is actually originally the shade Floaties from the Soul palette, but I have it in that spot, so that's why I'm using it. And this one I have used once in the past month, and I have 4 uses on it in total. So not too great, but there is definitely a little bit of a dip. But like again, you roll in so many orangey shades in my Pantastic eyeshadow, so although this was one shade that I wanted to focus on in this past month, I kind of prioritized those. So this one was kind of not my main focus, but hopefully once I roll those eyeshadows out, I can start working on this one. For J, we have another shade that I have not used yet this month. That is the shade Jester from Makeup Geek. I have 3 uses on it in total, but yeah, I haven't focused on it too much in the beginning of the year because this for me is a very autumnal shade, so I think I will start working on this soon. But yeah, it hasn't been my focus in the previous month. For N, we are going back to my Subculture palette, and we have the shade New Wave. This is one that is a very kind of orangey warm tone shade, so I was actually focusing on this one in the past month, and as you can see, I was able to pan on this shade. I reached for this an additional 17 times in the past month, and it took me 23 times in total to hit that pan. So that means I have 2 new pans in this palette in the past month, which is great. And I actually already have 3 pans in this palette, which is amazing because it is a relatively new palette in my collection. I picked this up on Black Friday last year, I think. So yeah, it is very new. I mean, relatively new at least. I'm happy to already have 3 pans. For O, we have another very orangey shade that comes from my Soft Glam palette, and I was working on the shade Orange Soda. That is what this one looks like, and hopefully you can pick it up there that I did hit pan on this one as well. I did reach for this an additional 16 times for a total of 28 uses to hit pan. And again, I now have 3 pans in this palette, which I'm very excited about. This one is definitely older than the Subculture palette though, but it was one that I was kind of treasuring and not using too much in my collection, so now I'm happy that it's starting to look a bit more used because it is one of my favorite neutral palettes. For Q, we have the shade Queen Bee, which comes from my Aha Honey palette, and I have it right here. And normally I have this as a single, so you might be able to tell what I did this month, and I did actually hit pan on it, so I put it back in the palette. I did reach for this an additional 7 times in the past month for a total of 16 uses. I mean, Colourpop eyeshadows, even these small ones, are very deep, so it doesn't usually take quite a while to pan. But it is a bit more of that kind of chunky formula from Colourpop, so it was also not too difficult, but I'm happy to now have 2 pans in this palette and I'm able to put this back in my collection. For us, we have the next shade from my Jackie Aina palette, and it is another one that I haven't used. I just haven't focused on this palette yet, but that is sponsored right here. I have used it twice so far in this project, but yeah, I'm still a bit away from pan. Again, these 2 shades are very autumnal to me, so I think I'm gonna reach for these very soon. I might even start focusing on this in the kind of upcoming month and try to at least get a head start on them so I can hit pan on them maybe in September or October. For you, we have the last shade from my Subculture palette, and that is the shade Untamed, which is this kind of tealy shade right here. With this one, I have used this twice in the past month for a total of 5 uses, but hopefully you can see that there is a slight dip starting to form, but I am obviously quite far away from pan. I think honestly it will take around the same amount of uses at least as New Wave, so around maybe 25 uses. So I still have to step up my game with this one, but it is not a shade that I have wanted to use too much in the beginning of the year, or especially in summer, because again it reminds me of autumn more and it's more kind of a smoky shade. I need to start reminding myself to use this shade, but it hasn't been a focus in the past month. I think I actually said I used this 5 times, but I have actually used this 7 times, so it's more than I thought. So yeah, it might even take more uses than New Wave, but yeah, I just have to continue working on it. Then the last 2 shades come from my Magic Mini palette from Juvia's Place. I have the shade Jamoya as well as Suba, which are these 2 shades right here. So we're going to start with Jamoya, which is Y. This one I have used once in the past month, and I'm actually wearing this today. It's the only time I worn it in the past month, and I'm wearing this kind of on the inner corner, or like inner lid right here, but I have topped it with more of an iridescent shade as well, so I'm not sure how much you can pick that up. But I have worn it once, but with Suba I have not used it at all because I've been working on different lid shades, but I think I'm definitely going to focus on Suba next. Jamoya is still more of a kind of winter shade for me, so I might not use it more than like a handful of times, but I will start using Suba this past month, and I know I said that for the last few months as well, but I am really going to focus on it this month. And there you guys with all of the eyeshadows that I'm still having in this project, which means I actually pan on 4 shades this month, which is amazing. I think I said last update that I have to pan on 2 shadows per month to hit my goal before the end of the year. So I'm definitely ahead of schedule now, and I actually only have 8 eyeshadows left to pan on. So technically, if I have months equally good as this one, I will only do this project for another 2 months. But I think that's a bit too ambitious. My goal is probably going to be to try to wrap this up maybe in the next 3 months if I can, maybe even 4, depending on when I want to use certain shades. There might be just like 1 or 2 shades hanging around at the end that might take like a few months to pan on, but I am very happy with where I am with this project, and yeah, I'm proud of what I did in the past month as well. So that is it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye guys!